Hey y'all, I am Nia George. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, really it's not just mine. It's between myself and my husband Frank. However, I'm the one you'll usually get to sit down with and talk to. I look forward to getting to meet you as you get to know me a little better, and hopefully we could be an encouragement to each other to further grow our marriages. So, welcome again, and thank you for joining. Don't forget to hit the like or subscribe button as we continue on this journey. So this week I've been really busy, really trying to get the YouTube channel together, coming up with the concept and topics, as well as working with someone who does design in order to do like an intro or an outro. So I hope to have that up soon and be able to show you a lot of changes and development with our channel so that it could be a little bit more polished. I don't normally like to just jump in things when it's not fully, ready to be executed, but this was one of those things that I felt like if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And usually when I get the feeling that I may never do something, I just take the plunge. That's in my nature. It is me. I try to just go for it, tweak it along the way, and if it doesn't work out, I will also scrap a thing very quickly. Anyway, so we are here, and you get to experience us growing and the changes with our channel. So I'm excited for us, and I'm excited for you as well. But tonight, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit and give you some history on how we actually got here. I was thinking about that last week when I put up the channel, and people commented because, of course, we get people who are following me or who know of me from Instagram, Facebook, the community that I reside in, and they kind of have seen my story unfold or have seen my life thrive to this manner. But those who have never heard of me or don't know anything about me or follow me anywhere else, they're like, okay, you got married again, right? So, but it's more than just I got married again that really brought me here. My marriage is so incredibly amazing to me that I am always talking about it and uplifting it and my husband, because I really see it as an answered prayer. Couple years ago, well, actually prior to my current husband, I was married before for 15 years. 15 years, and that's a long time to be married and then to not be married, right? I got married when I was 21 to a man that I started dating when I was 16, and we really kind of grew up together until we grew apart. We grew up together until we grew apart, and after 15 years decided that was no sense of continuing to go forward in the relationship because we weren't thriving. At that point, we were not benefiting each other. We were really causing more harm, so we ended that relationship. And it was very difficult. I'm saying it here now a little bit more casually, as if it's nothing, but it was very difficult at the time. And even in thinking about it now, it's not the most pleasant experience in my life, even with the great relationship that I have now. It's still something that I had to work through a lot with counseling and prayer to not have the feelings of failure continue to follow me, throughout my life, or even the feelings of regret and wasted time to have been married for so long to have it come to an end. But after all of that was done, I began to take my petition to God, because I never did not want to be married. I knew that marriage is certainly something that I valued. It is something that I always wanted to be a part of, because I love doing things in community. As you see, I do this publicly with people, and I do my yoga practice in community. I work in a community and sell real estate where I'm constantly interacting with people. And so it is just my makeup to want to share my life with someone. And marriage was the calling in which I knew God had put a special calling in me to be a part of. However, it was difficult to really even understand what a marriage should look like. So that was one of the first challenges and hurdles I had to come to when I began to tell God that I want to get married and I want to be with somebody who I can grow with. I needed to really understand what marriage is, what God ordained it to be, and how I can have a successful marriage as I continued in my life. I put my petition before God, though. I was very clear. I was very detailed. And it was not clear and detailed like the, people encourage women to just make a list of what you want in a person. So let me just say I did put some characteristics on my list because, I wanted to be able to be attracted to the person that God was bringing my way. But most importantly, the items that I put on the list, of course, started with he must be a man of God. He must be someone after God's own heart and truly seeking in his own spirit a wife, and in his own spirit wanting to love and nurture another individual. So I wasn't looking for somebody who was just a man and we had a good time and he just said, oh yeah, I like you enough, okay, I'll marry you. But I was really wanting somebody who had the same desire and thought that they were created to be also in union with someone else and to be a covering for their wife, as well as a spiritual leader for their wife. So that was one of the items on my list, along with all the other things, like he had to be handsome, he had to be employed, he had to have good credit. I didn't have that he had to be rich or anything like that, because I do know that, if you are with the right person who is motivated, a hard worker, and a man after God's own heart, you can build something together. So he didn't have to come rich, but he had to come standing on his own. At this age, at this time around, I was not looking for somebody who was 50 trying to really figure out life and trying to start their first career. I understand if he was someone trying to change professions, but I just didn't have the capacity in my life to be able to help someone develop a first career. So I wasn't looking for somebody young. I needed them to be seasoned, experienced, and an individual who, when we come together, it would be, can tell that it was something that God joined together, because we would be hitting the ground running from the time that we got together. And really, my husband and I, our marriage has been like that. From the time we got together, we've been hitting the ground running. And it was not, I didn't have to coerce him into anything. I didn't have to twist his arm. And nor did he have to, make me do things. It's like we came together, God planted the seed exactly in both of us, that when we came together, the seed just grew, it blossomed into what we have now, which is something that I completely adore and am happy for. But that was one of the things that I did. I took my petition before God, and I really told God what I was looking for in a husband, and not just what I was looking for. I held God to his word. So I looked through my scriptures and kind of looked at the promises that he has given us. And I recited those promises back. And I'm like, God, this is what you said that you would do. If I seek you, I'm going to find you. If I ask, I will receive. If I knock, the door will be open. And I put that petition before him. And it wasn't like it came immediately the next day or the next week. There were moments of discouragement, moments of doubt, where I laid in bed at night and really frustrated with the process and frustrated with God, frustrated with my faith. And it wasn't a doubt in my faith, but there were times where I wondered if that there would not be another opportunity for me to get married, right? So what I learned throughout that too, in speaking to God, that doubt is fine. Sometimes we come to God with uncertainty, not in God, but in the plan that he may have for us. Because although, we could write the different visions, we certainly don't necessarily know them to be fact until we start walking the path and seeing the light begin to shine as we walk the path. But throughout that path, those dark times, you do kind of get a bit discouraged. So yeah, that was the first part of my journey, which entailed also a lot of tears and a lot of love from my community, of my sister, my aunts, and just my family, reassuring me that, one, there's nothing wrong with me, right? Because you can think that there's something wrong with you when the doors that you want to open aren't opening as freely. And so that was one of the obstacles I had to really come to terms with. There was nothing wrong with me. And then two, also touch and agree that God's timing is perfect. So once I started really processing that, I went on a mission to perfect myself. And it wasn't a perfection of being the perfect person for someone. It was more perfecting myself in getting to know me, getting to know what I like, doing the things that I enjoy doing, continuing to travel and go places by myself, not fearing that type of lifestyle, and really growing my relationship and connection with God and my children. So that was a journey. It was enjoyable. It was a process, but it was enjoyable. Throughout the process of perfecting myself, I did date someone, right? So I dated someone, and it was a long-term dating courtship. And actually, just to be completely honest, I thought that this would be somebody I was going to marry. However, when I saw that it was not going on that road, I did take a risk and made the decision that it would be better to end it and better to really be alone with myself than to continue with somebody who just wanted to date forever, right? Date indefinitely and waste time. When I knew my purpose was to be a wife, not only was it my purpose, I knew it was my passion. I knew it was something I longed for. So it made absolutely no sense for me to continue in a casual relationship with somebody who was never intending to marry me, right? So in 2019, I ended that relationship. Ended the relationship, and it was hard because I dated this person, I would say about 5 years, and they had really become a big part of my life. But how long you gonna be dating somebody, right? so you gotta move on eventually, because the writing's on the wall. And when the writing's on the wall, like my grandma would say, don't stay too long at the party. And I did not. So I got out of that in 2019. 2020, the beginning of 2020, started off like a regular year with my real estate company, setting the goals and the plans for success. But come March of 2020, that's when, as the world know, we had COVID, or it was recognized to be COVID and the pandemic, and we were all shut down. Which, backtrack, I think is interesting that thinking back, we had the pandemic recognized in March of 2020. However, there are so many people that I know, that I've spoken to, that can attest, they feel that they had COVID in like 2019 December, November 2019 through January, in that it was just diagnosed in March that it was a pandemic, shut the world down, don't do anything. So the pandemic shut us down March of 2020, and we were all doing all the most online, right? Me included. I was doing the most with my yoga challenges, which I have to go back to because I did enjoy doing the daily yoga challenges. But I was doing my yoga challenges online, posting things on social media. At that time, I was also doing my aromatherapy, which I still love and do, and highly recommend essential oils. And I was just doing everything at home online, being more social than I guess I was prior to the pandemic on my social media. And I get a message, and one of those, I think Instagram, I get a message in Instagram, and it was from Frank. And he said, hey, just casually, hey, how are you? How you been? I see you're the yoga queen on social media. How have you been? And it was interesting to get the message from him in that time in May. He sent it because, I wasn't thinking about anybody at the time. I had ended a relationship with my last guy in 2019, and I was really enjoying the time that we had throughout the first part of the pandemic, being home and finally relaxing and chilling with my children. And I was contemplating at this time starting to go on one of those apps for swiping left and just toying with that idea, and I get his message. So when he wrote me, it was not a romantic drop into your DMs trying to check on you, I'm interested in you type of message. So we have somewhat of a history, if I haven't told you before. And our history is that in 2012 and beyond, we worked together. I do real estate and he did mortgages, and he was working with Invest Atlanta in that type of capacity. And so we would just do work together in that capacity and helping buyers receive additional down payment assistance. Nothing else at all. I was married at that time, and apparently he was too. That's how little I knew about him. I didn't even know he was married or had a whole family or anything, because we didn't communicate like that in that year. But I just knew he fell off the map somewhere, or he was no longer working for that company. So when he wrote me in May, it was like, oh wow, where have you been? What are you doing? How are you? And that's when he told me that he has come back to Georgia. I didn't even know he left because I wasn't, keeping up with him or anything. But he told me he came back to Georgia and he was no longer married. Again, I didn't even know he was married before. And that he was just needing some advice for breath techniques because he is running and he is experiencing some shortness of breath. So I was happy to give him some pointers and advice. You know, I'm a breath coach, so I was willing to demonstrate my little expertise online and tell him what he needed to do and just give him some tips. And I just typed that all up and hit that send and thought we were done, right? So no, we weren't done. He replied back and after, you know, just casual back and forth, he then said, hey, why don't we get together when we have some, when there's an opening? And I think this was in May, because around May in Georgia, I guess we started being able to do some things outdoors, eating outside or walking, taking walks. And I said, oh, great, that's a great idea. We can catch up, you know, and go and eat something or take a walk. So we ultimately did end up catching up. And it was just a casual lunch. He was already at the location when I arrived. So, you know, I'm usually late, but he was already at the location when I arrived. And he was seated, he greeted me, and it felt like I was meeting an old friend. It felt so casual and awesome. It was so casual and awesome. I ordered a complete meal and ate it without thinking twice about how I looked when I was eating. That's how friendly it was and how much I knew it was just playing catch up with an old friend. So after that meeting left, we departed ways. He went his way and I went my way. And I continued doing all that I was doing online and social media, knowing that, wow, I got somebody else that I'm helping to develop their exercise routine. And that's the end of it, right? At least that's what I thought. So that was a lot. And I'm so glad you stuck around to join me for the first part of our journey. And please check in and subscribe so that you can get the notification for next week. I will release another part to this. It won't be the full information of to when we got up to our proposal and engagement, but just a little bit more about our courtship to the first date and beyond. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you on the internet and other social media platforms. Until we meet again, take care.